Dudes who bet sports, dudes who bet sports, it's your favorite show. Dudes who bet sports, where degenerates go. Dudes who bet sports, time to change your approach with Aaron Holzman and his father, the coach. Let's ride.
Well, the Associated Press is full of shit.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dudes Who Bet Sports Show. Another Monday, another week in the books for college football, opening week of the NFL. Another good week, right?
Oh, yes, and I'm looking forward to tonight. We got a lot to do. We got the NFL. We got tons to talk about in college football. And got the surprise questions at the end of the night if we have enough time that everybody looks forward to. So let's get after it.
Hello, Bree, and good evening to you as well. And yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a fun show. I think if you watch the show on Sunday, the Daily Show, the Sports Daily Show, they went 4-0, by the way. Great Sunday. But if you watch it, you can tell Papa Dude and I kind of wanted to talk college football a little bit more in depth because there was a lot that happened. We'll get to do that tonight, and that's the good news.
You bet. Boy, there is a lot going on.
There is a lot to cover, a lot of ground to cover. Let's get right to it. Like you said, a jam-packed show. We do definitely want a time for questions at the end. So let's get right to it. Let's get right to the game tonight because there is a task at hand. The Broncos and the Seahawks going to kick off here in about an hour and 20 minutes live from Seattle. Denver is a 6-point favorite in this game. Miss Russell Wilson comes home. They were as high as 7. I've seen them at 6.5 just today. Line now at 6. What's your take on this one tonight?
Well, actually, I just got off Bovada, and it's 7 again on there. Yeah, I just did it. And so you can get anywhere from 6 to 7. It just depends. I don't know. Is it just me? I have no interest in this game. I guess it's probably just me. I don't know. Maybe I watched too much football this weekend. I think these two teams are pretty boring normally, Yeah. They should beat them. I agree, Dennis. The Broncos should win this game. I can't see why they wouldn't with Seattle's quarterback situation. I don't know. The key is, what do you think about the line? I'm inclined to take the under 44 because I don't think Seattle's going to score very much. I can't see them getting more than 17 points, which means to get beat, Denver would have to score 28. Mm-hmm. And that's iffy too, I think. So I think if I was going to do anything, I'd take the under in this game.
Yeah, a lot of new players, obviously trying to mix. Not new to Denver, but new the whole with the quarterback and the receivers and everything. Can they mix quick enough?
Yeah.
I just can't get over the fact that Drew Lock was beaten out by Geno Smith, which means, gosh, Drew Lock is just awful, awful, awful. He's been the quarterback at Denver for a long time. This is such an upgrade. I think Russell Wilson going home. I got to favor Denver minus the 6 points here. But listen, we saw some weird endings, or not just endings, but just games in general yesterday. So we'll see. But I'm going to take Denver here in this one. I think they got too much offense.
All right. I think they're going to win. Yeah, it'll just be can they cover?
And again, trying to cover on the NFL on the road is tough. So we'll see what happens there. Jason says he's ready for the Cougar joke. Hold on now. Wait till we talk about some Cougars and Dennis.
Yeah, then you get right in there. Both Dennis got one too. So just
yes. So
when we get to the Cougars, which we will when we get to college football.
That's right. All right, let's go through the NFL here. Week 1 in the NFL in the books after tonight. We got all but one game done. Usually this opening weekend we get 2 Monday Night Football games. We don't tonight. So doesn't matter. Anyway, so Thursday kicked it off. This felt like it was like 10 years ago.
It does.
The Bills destroyed the Rams 31-10. I think the overreaction here, kind of the theme of the show is going to be overreactions, and you can say if it's true or not. The overreaction is Bills are a shoe-in to win the Super Bowl. True or false on that one?
Well, there's no such thing as a shoe-in after 1 week. Yeah. That is for sure. And I tell you what, after you see, or in the NFL, overreactions, you just simply cannot do it. That first week, a lot of crazy things happen.
Yeah.
And so there is overreactions. I wouldn't say they're shooing to win the Super Bowl. But in my principles honor roll, they're number 1 this week. I think the next team that we'll get to in a little bit is a close second. But I was so impressed with Buffalo. I thought they played great. And I've got them as number 1 on my list. Some people might argue with the number 2 team, which we'll get to here in a little while. On the other hand, on the failing list, I've got the Rams at number 5. Some people may have them a little higher, but I didn't put them down that low because Buffalo's pretty good. So I put them at number 5. But this will be an interesting week coming up to see how the Rams react and see if they can get back on the right foot. So I wouldn't worry about them yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't bury the Rams as well. I think they will bounce back out of that. And we'll just have to see. The Bills looked awfully good. I mean, right now they are the favorites without any question. But they looked very good. And yeah, they did exceed expectations this game, as Jason says.
Yep.
And I thought they really looked good. You know, I think Dennis is right. You know, the Bills look great. The Rams, they didn't look absolutely awful.
No.
It could have been a lot of what the Bills had to do, you know, in that game and what they did to them. So I'm not ready to bury the Rams yet, but they got to improve, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
In that game. And I think they will. All right, let's move on to the Sunday games. The Saints and the Falcons. This is just a great game after a great game. The Saints are way behind. They come back and win this thing on a last-second field goal. One of the kickers, there were 2 star kickers. This was one of them. Man, what did you think about this one?
Well, it was a great comeback because it looked like the Saints were going to be on the failing list for a long time.
Yeah, they were getting
and looking down the road, this would have been a game, even though it's the first week of the season. You can't see the Saints being much better than 10-7, 9-8, a fringe team into the playoffs, I think.
Yeah.
They lose this game to a team that's not supposed to be very good. That could have hurt them down the road. So the fact that they pulled that out is huge for the Saints moving forward.
Yeah, no question about it. Atlanta got way ahead. And I don't know what it is with Atlanta. They cannot hold leads. It doesn't matter who the coach is, who the quarterback is. They cannot hold leads. And that was just incredible to see them blow another one. How about this game? Well, we didn't really know the weather was going to be like it was, but the Chicago Bears, let me say it again, the Chicago Bears absolutely dominated the San Francisco 49ers in the second half to pull off a 19-10 win. I think the field conditions and everything kind of, this is a little bit of a throw out to some people, but what did you think about this one?
I thought the Bears would cover or would beat that spread. I thought they would. I think San Francisco has big problems at quarterback, and I think it showed. Mm-hmm. I saw that kid play a little bit last year. I thought he was terrible. I don't think he's the answer. I think you're going to see Garoppolo before long. When you look at the stats, a couple of things stand out. One, the 49ers had 12 penalties in the game, and that's bad. They were in the red zone 3 times and only scored once, as far as the touchdown goes.
Yeah.
So that's bad. So there were some things. When you look at the stats, the Bears only had 204 total yards. So San Francisco kind of beat themselves. But I've got them ranked number 2 on my list, failing list, the 49ers. I got the Bears number 8 on the principals honor roll simply because I'd have rated them a little higher. But when you look at the stats, they're kind of fortunate to win.
Yeah, I definitely think it was a situation. They were at home and the weather was terrible and they were able to pull it out. Dennis reminds us the Bears were +7 in this game. And so a home dog with a win there. It was a heck of a game. It was, I mean, I shouldn't really say it was a heck of a game. It was a heck of a surprise.
It was.
And Jason mentioned the red zone. I've got the red zone as well. And it just, in the second half, it's like, oh my God, the Bears, they're going to win this game. Yeah. They kept, so pretty crazy. All right. Talking about crazy. This one was out of control. The Steelers win 23-20 in overtime over the Bengals. I don't even know where to begin. The Bengals were awful. Joe Burrow was awful in this game. Despite all of that, they had multiple chances to win and couldn't. They got an extra point block that would have won the game at the last second. They missed field goals that would have won the game. High snaps, laces out, Dan, not laces in. Incredible win for the Steelers. Finally get the job done in overtime. I don't even know what to think about this game moving forward.
Well, we're going to go on the other side of things from the Saints. this is a game the Bengals are going to look at down the road. This is a game that they needed to win.
Yeah.
Because their division is going to be difficult for them to win. Baltimore's pretty good. Cleveland got a big win yesterday. They needed this game because the Steelers are not very good. They won the game. You got to give them credit. After Cincinnati missed that gimme field goal to win the game in overtime, 23-20, Pittsburgh took it right down the field and kicked their field goal and won it. That's what the Steelers do. So this is a tough loss for the Bengals. Who would have thought Joe Burrow would throw 4 interceptions?
I mean,
that was staggering.
4 interceptions and a fumble. He turned it over 5 times.
Yes.
Pittsburgh won the turnover battle 5-0,
and they're
overtime and luck to win this game.
And they still would have lost if they could make an extra point.
Yeah.
If the Bengals could make an extra point. The Bengals had 488 yards total offense, and Pittsburgh had 282. So they outgained them 200 yards, lost the turnover battle 0-5, and still coulda, shoulda won the game. So this is a bad loss. Don't write them off yet, though. The thing with the Bengals, they have a very, very difficult schedule. This was a game they needed.
I think this game is the one that'll come back and haunt you because of what you just said with the schedule. It's much tougher this year. It does suck. TJ Watt got hurt. I think he's going to be out for a while. Torn pec, maybe the season for him. I kind of agree with Dennis. The Bengals played about as bad as you could play and still should have won the game, could have won the game, however you want to phrase it. So I don't know what that says for the Steelers, probably that they're not great, but
they're not.
This is a game I think we all assumed the Bengals would win, and a lot of us thought they would cover. So they're going to have to rebound from that game. It's a bad loss. There's no other way around it. You cannot lose at home.
No.
So tough loss there. All right. This one got exciting at the end. The Eagles kind of were blowing out the Lions. The Lions rushed back late. The Eagles had to convert a 4th and 1 to ice this game, but solid win is how I would describe this for the Eagles. Anytime you go on the road and you win, it's good, right?
You better believe it. And isn't this kind of the MO of the Lions? Get way behind and then make this closing dash at the end, and everybody, the Detroit fans, oh man, they got spirit. They don't ever quit. Well, there's still an L in the loss column for the Lions. I thought they might win this game. I was pretty confident they would. I don't know if they're any better than they were last year. I think we're going to have to, some of us, not me, are going to have to realize Jalen Hurts is a little bit better than what we think he is. He had a great day yesterday, a tremendous day. I know it's Detroit and there's other games to go, but you know what? His stats are pretty good. And that was a good win for Philly, a really good win.
Yeah, it was a really good win, and Hurts did play very well in the game. And the Lions are kind of like Gufo of horse racing. They always seem like they're going to get there and hardly ever do. Yeah. They closed late, but they couldn't get the job done. Right. I'm with you. They looked awful for a lot of this game until that big comeback. So, good win for the Eagles. 1-0. Jesse says the Pats sharded. My goodness, they were awful in this game. The Dolphins jump out to a 17-0 lead, hold on to win 20-7. They were not good in the second half of this game, but we were worried about the Patriots coming into the season. They looked pretty helpless. It's not like Miami went up and down the field on them, so that's good. But this offense in New England is putrid.
And it's been putrid now for the last 5 or 6 games last season.
Yeah.
And now to this one. So they've got some issues. Didn't I see where Mac Jones left the game, got hurt? I think
I was not watching at that time, but I think he did leave the game. I don't know what his status is going to be.
Yeah, I don't either. I see. I've got it written down here. Maybe hurt. You go anywhere and only score 7 points, you're going to get beat.
Yeah.
I thought this was a very, very good win for Miami, though, with all the hype that they've had going into the season. I wouldn't have been surprised if they laid an egg.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They won. They won convincingly. This is a good win for them. And they made the principal's honor roll for me. This was a good start for the Dolphins.
So here's an overreaction that Dennis has right now. He says that he believes that the Dolphins are going to win the AFC Championship. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm not ready to go there yet.
No,
Because they kind of got to handle the Bills first in their own division, and I don't know if they're as good as the Bills, but it's a good win for them. By the way, Tyreek Hill had 8 catches for 94 yards. No big explosion, but there he is for 94 yards. Tua was 23 of 33, 270 yards, 2 TDs. Their defense played well. They're pretty solid.
Yeah, I thought they looked very good. What Jason says is correct. He said, look at the under for the Patriots games. He's right. They have no weapons. They have no explosive players. It's bad. So we'll see if they can bounce back. We know they're well coached. We'll see if they can bounce back. The Ravens beat the Jets 24-9. That's a very strong win on the road. I know it's the Jets. Doesn't matter. They never look like they're going to lose the game. I thought that was a good first game for the Ravens. Any comment on the Ravens?
I think you hit it right on the head. Solid in every way.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this game, Jacksonville and Washington maybe being kind of a why would anybody watch this game? And it really had a good ending, though. Washington got ahead. The Jaguars made some mistakes that really killed them, but they came back. They got the lead, and then the Commanders winning with the last couple of minutes there with a touchdown pass and were able to hold off Jacksonville. I don't know. You got anything exciting to say about this one?
I think you got to pat Washington on the back. They got to win at home. They needed to get it. Yeah. When we get to Dallas here in a minute, we'll talk about the NFC East a lot more.
Yeah.
But suddenly with Dallas and all of their problems, that NFC East is wide open.
Yeah. No, it definitely is. And, Philadelphia, and the Giants have both won. We'll talk about them as well here in a second. But it's good when you're the Commanders. Any win is a good win. That's the way I look at it. Yeah, good job. This was a great game. I watched all of this one. The Browns and the Panthers. It really just Mayfield started awful and then played much better in the second half. Panthers a furious rally. They took the lead 24-23. They got a questionable call on the final drive against them, and the Browns were able to sort of get into field goal range. It took a 58-yarder from a rookie kicker, and the Browns made it. That's the least Browns thing ever. I didn't think there's any chance they would make it. The Browns win 26-24. The Browns look just like always, run the ball. Quarterback can't really do much. And I thought Mayfield looked better in this game than he had, of course, last season with the Browns for sure. What did your takeaway from another really good game?
Yeah, it was. I didn't watch it. I followed it. I was maybe sick. They made a great comeback. Would have been a great story and a good kickoff for Baker in Carolina. My thoughts on it must be, Carolina must not have a very good run defense because
that was the problem.
Yeah, Cleveland was able to run the ball on them. It sounded like Kareem Hunt had a good game too for the Browns. We know the Browns have talent. That's a good win for them. What's his name? Who's the quarterback? I can't think. Watson. He's out for 11 games?
Yeah.
I think that's too many for the Browns to hang in there. But any win they can get out of these first 11,
Yeah.
Let's say they somehow are 5-6, 6-5 after those 11 games, and he comes back and he can play. They could get in there. That's a good win for them, any way you put it.
It's a big win for sure for the Browns. And like I said, I think they're going to be a lot like last year. They just don't have any kind of playmaking ability at the quarterback position. But he did the thing that didn't think he could do. He did not turn the ball over. That was the key. Brissett did not turn it over. And if you do that, the Browns are going to have a chance against a lot of teams because that running game is very good. Carolina. And Jason, you're right. I mean, Baker in the first half, I was like, well, I mean, maybe he's not going to do anything this year, and that's it. And then in the second half, he played a great half. So it's Jekyll and Hyde. But bad loss for Carolina.
Yeah.
Good win for the Browns.
It tells me Carolina's got some defensive problems, I think.
Well, I think they do against the run for sure. They allowed him, Chubb and Hunt, like you said, to run all over him. But that's a very good running team as well.
It is.
All right, Colts, Texans. Nobody wanted to win it. Nobody could do anything. Nobody could make field goals. this was a crazy game. The Texans were dominating. The Colts, as you can see, score 17 points in the last quarter to tie this thing up, and then nobody can get. I mean, the Colts. How disappointing is this for the Indianapolis Colts?
Oh, it is an awful tie. It's not a loss. It's better than a loss, but they have to rally and score 17 points. You have all the momentum going into overtime, and you can't win against Houston.
Yeah,
that's another game may come back and bite them.
It's crazy. Mattingly says, the Colts disappointing team. Ryan fumbled 4 times, lost 1. Defense didn't show up. Mackie, man, it's interesting. He says the Colts are now 0-8-1 in the last 9 years of week 1. So it just shows you it's kind of like the Atlanta can't hold the lead. The Colts can't win week 1. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
I was dumbfounded. I thought they're going to get beat double digits.
Yeah.
Texans, and they should have. Texans blew it. But
well, Aaron says most disappointing team of the week. Aaron, there are a ton of disappointing teams. I can't rank them number 1 because they didn't lose.
That's the only reason why you can't. Yeah, they didn't lose. I've got one that I think's the worst. We're going to get to in a minute. But yeah, they weren't great. Let's put it that way.
No, they're very disappointing for sure. If there weren't so many of the others, they might have been number 1 on my list.
Yeah, for sure. Dennis loved the Giants in this game as Mike Somich Dennis had a money line. Mike Somich had him plus the 5.5.
Yep.
Giants win it 21-20. Dennis counting his lucky stars. Speaking of kickers, a terrible kick to end this game of the Titans. They should have won it, but they missed the field goal. The Giants win their first game of the year. I mean, what do you think about this? Are the Giants better? Are they decent? Or did Tennessee just kind of lose this one?
The takeaway I get out of this game is Barkley seems to be healthy.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been 164 yards and 16 carries. Listen, if he's healthy, they've improved their offensive line a lot in the offseason. That's a huge win. And I don't know that I've ever seen an opening week where kickers have been so bad across the board. I mean, there's just so many games they couldn't make one. And then Carolina's on the other side of it. So this is a tough loss for the Titans. And this is, as we said, it's early. But you lose a game like this, you got to win these games at home. You have to if you're a playoff team. But suddenly, and again, we'll get into all this when we get to Dallas, the Giants, that's a huge win. That is a huge win because everybody, for the most part, had that down as a loss, except our man Dennis.
That's right, Dennis. And Somich, got to give Somich some credit on that as well.
He just had to spread. Dennis had
but he thought that, well, yes, but he did think the Titans were not going to be that great this year.
Right.
I'll tell you what, NFL, you lose one you shouldn't. Now basically you're going to have to win a game maybe you shouldn't. So we'll see what happens, see if the Titans can bounce back. Speaking of bouncing back, and speaking of teams that are just terrible week 1, the Packers lay an egg again in week 1. The Vikings just dominated this from start to finish. Rodgers looked terrible. They dropped passes. I mean, I'm not going to overreact and say Green Bay is dead because we saw them play worse last week, or last year, I should say, and come back and win in week 2 and go on to a great season. But this was not a great start for the Packers.
No, and this game was never in doubt.
No.
They got dominated. And now, Green Bay had 3 offensive linemen out. Makes a difference.
Yeah.
First game, new receivers, whatever you want to say. This was a good old-fashioned ass-kicking by the Vikings. And the Vikings were on the fringe of being pretty good last year. They lost some tough games, had a tough schedule. A lot of people now are on the bandwagon for them. They were impressive yesterday. Justin Jefferson, receiver, wow, what a day he had. And Cousins was very, very good. So that is a huge win for the Vikings, and we'll see what they can do down the road.
Yeah, Mackie Man says new offense could be sneaky and might be a kind of the dark horse Super Bowl contender. I'm not going to go that far yet, but they definitely look better. Let's see if Kirk Cousins can kind of keep that going. We'll see what happens. Mattingly thinks they can win the division, and certainly after you beat a team like Green Bay like that, you start to think that. gonna lean towards no. Still, I don't have faith in Kirk Cousins just yet. But
right. Let's look at the schedule real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right, because that's going to make a big difference.
Yep.
All right, they got a huge game this week at Philadelphia. Okay, that's a toss-up type game.
Yeah.
They win there, then they got Detroit.
Yeah.
At home. They've got they go to London and play New Orleans, which is better than playing them in New Orleans.
Toss up though.
It is. Then they got the Bears at home.
Yeah.
So let's say they beat Philly. And then win those other three. They could be 5-0 going down to Miami. And then they got the Cardinals at home. They got Washington on the road. They do have to play Buffalo on the road. So there's some games in there that are tough, but winning against Green Bay is always good in your division. So I'm not ready to say that either, because I've seen Green Bay lay an egg many, many times early in the season. They get better.
Yeah.
So I'm not ready to say it either, but that was a good win. And Dennis says he liked his tweet saying Rodgers is down. Rodgers fumbles the ball. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. I totally agree with you on that one, Dennis.
We'll see. Yeah, you read off some of those games, and it's like, well, they're the Vikings, and in the past, some of those games where it's like, yeah, they're toss-ups. They could win those. They tend to lose them.
That's right.
So that's kind of why, while I do think they obviously have the upper hand in the division, I'm not quite ready to crown them yet. I want to see.
Not yet.
Will they go over to London and beat the Saints?
They may not. And the Saints
never know.
So, yeah, those are games that we just don't know.
Yeah, for sure. All right, one thing we do know, the Chiefs looked back to their old 2018, 19, 2020 ways in this one. Score every time you get the ball. Not a lot of, showing off and being assholes like they were last year, just all business. This was a dominant win. I don't know. The Cardinals looked like a team coached by the worst coach probably in football, even if you're looking back to the Pee Wee division. So that could have been a part of it, but the Chiefs looked dominant in this game.
I totally agree. I probably should have put them as number one on the honor roll. I just felt like Buffalo beat a better team than Kansas City did, and that's why I put the Chiefs second. Mahomes 30 for 39, 5 touchdowns. He looked like $1 million. Is it because, like you said, is it because the Chiefs are that good or the Cardinals are that bad? Because I think the Cardinals – okay, I'm going to make a bold prediction here. This is an overreaction, maybe. I think Kingsbury is going to be the first coach fired.
100% agree. I think he's the worst coach in the history of the NFL. I think he is god-awful, to quote you, and something you would say.
Yeah.
He's the worst. And they looked completely like clueless on what to do on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
So
they did. Murray looks disinterested to me. I don't think he gets along with Kingsbury, or he might think Kingsbury is a joke.
Yeah.
I think the whole team does. This was one of the strangest hires when they hired him. I remember when they hired him, I'm thinking, why?
Yeah.
What has he done to deserve an NFL head coaching job? It was really a weird hire. Jason, you might be right. The difference is Rule actually succeeded at the college level.
Right.
This guy didn't. And it's a strange, it was always a strange hire to me. And I got to pat Dennis again on the back. He said if the Cardinal game went over the spread, the Chiefs would have the -6 easy. And he was correct, but he didn't bet either one.
And Mackie, man, we've said this so many times over the years, whether it be, just my dad and I, riding in a car together, making fun of Cliff Kingsbury or saying it on the show. If you're at Texas Tech and you have Pat Mahomes and you go 5-7, you're one of the all-time worst coaches. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
He got fired at Texas Tech because he couldn't win with Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
That's a fact. And then he got hired in the NFL after that. This is crazy that this guy has this job.
He went to USC as the offensive coordinator, but he never coached, right?
Correct. He got hired for this job after he got hired as the USC offensive coordinator.
Yeah, which I thought was a good hire for USC, because I think as a coordinator, offensive coordinator, he probably is fine, but he's not a head coach.
you just look at what Texas Tech was before he got there, right? Yeah. They were good. And then he got there and they went completely downhill. Every year was worse than the year before. Yeah. His like I said, he got fired going 5-7 with Patrick Mahomes, and then all of a sudden he's got the Cardinal job. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
No. All right, enough of that rant. All right, let's move on here. Chargers and the Raiders. The Chargers win at 24-19. This was not like the craziest game you thought it might be. Like I thought this would be wild back and forth.
Yes.
I say a little boring compared to the expectations, but still, this is a good win for the Chargers.
I would have never guessed 43 total points.
No.
Never. So that's a good win, though, for the Chargers. These are the kind of games they sometimes lose. That's a good start for them.
Yeah. And the Chargers and Chiefs play Thursday night, and I think we'll get a better gauge of what the Chiefs are when they play the Chargers. That's be a hell of a game. It's in Kansas City. You know that thing is going to be rocking.
Yep.
Should be a really fun game. So we'll see Chargers Chiefs Thursday night. Got to get a better gauge on both of them, let's say.
Well, the thing is, Herbert plays well against Kansas City.
He does, yeah.
But they ain't beating the Chiefs if they play like they did last night.
I wouldn't think so. Yeah, I wouldn't think so. They looked very good. I think, Jason, I can't remember. I think it was you that commented. It was like, yeah, the Chiefs may be my Super Bowl team after week 1. Absolutely. I don't think anybody's arguing. They look great. Let's see what they do against the Chargers. I think it'll be a tougher test. All right, last game. I was so excited for this game. We'd watch football all day. It'd been great. It's like, God, this might be one of the best ones yet. The Cowboys had other plans. This was, if they're not number 1 on your list, well, I don't know. There's some bad college teams too, but they were. That's one of the worst teams, or one of the worst games I've ever seen an NFL team play last night. So bad.
Oh, no question. I've got a failing list for both the NFL and college. They are number 1. They were god awful. And I didn't think Tampa Bay was very good either.
I thought they looked like shit.
Yeah. And I guarantee you that Brady is pissed for all the opportunities they had to score touchdowns and they had to kick field goals. And I kept thinking they should be ahead like 28-3 at the half. And it was only 12-3, I think it was. And I kept thinking Dallas is going to come back and take advantage of this. Prescott was horrible. He looked like he used to look. Then he got hurt, and now he's out for multiple weeks, it said this morning.
Yeah.
Are they buried? I never even heard of their backup quarterback. I can't even remember his name. I saw it this morning. I never heard of the guy. Never heard of him.
Yeah. This was crazy. Jason is right. Between the raspy Collinsworth voice, poor guy was struggling last night. I actually, about half, I went up and I was saying, I'll watch the rest of this one in bed, and I did not make it to the end of it either. I fell asleep. It was bad. Dennis is right. Like, the Cowboys defense held them in the game.
Yeah, you're right, Dennis. They did.
But my God, this offense was just awful.
Well, look, they don't have any weapons anymore.
Yeah.
Other than Lamb, and when you don't have somebody to complement him, double team him.
Yeah.
They didn't sign Cooper.
Yeah.
They really look bad. And losing Prescott, what are they going to do? You have to think they're going to go in the tank, which opens it up the East for the Giants. All 3 of those teams, really, because they're all pretty equal. Maybe Washington may be a notch below the Giants and the Eagles, but suddenly what looked like an easy Dallas division win now is a free-for-all.
Yeah, I would say the Giants and the Eagles right now are the favorites for that thing. So, and the Eagles being a heavy favorite at this point. I should mention before we go on to the to the college football ranks here. Thursday night, definitely need to watch Slim and Samich. They will be on a half of Thursday night of that Chiefs-Chargers game we talked about. That will be a fun show. Maybe Jared will join and we'll get his emotional reactions right at the half to the Chiefs and the Chargers. That's going to be a lot of fun. Last thing before we go on to college, Garoppolo to Dallas. What do you think?
Whoa, now that's interesting, Aaron. That's very interesting. If I was Dallas, Dallas is all over the place this morning trying to find a quarterback. They're going everywhere trying to find one.
I would certainly think so. The only thing that The only thing I would worry about, I think San Francisco might need a quarterback after week one.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're going to get him.
They may not be motivated to trade him until they see Lance for another couple of weeks, but that would be what Dallas needs. They need a Jimmy Garoppolo. They need something.
They've got to have a stabilizer of some kind, and he would be okay there, and they might be able to save their season, and go 8-9, 9-8, which might win the NFC East.
Yeah.
And the other thing is they can't mortgage their future for him. You know what I'm saying? It depends on what they could get him for.
Teddy Bridgewater could be another one that could come in there.
Now, is he in Denver?
No, I don't know where he went. Boy, I'm not sure. He was in Denver last year. I don't know where he's at now. Hey, how about this? Is Dak Prescott any good, really?
I've never thought he was very good.
I'm worried. I'm worried that they don't have a quarterback all of a sudden, even when he is healthy.
Yeah.
He didn't look very good. All right, let's move on to college. The game we were at live and in person, Oklahoma wins it 33-3. It was not a good first half at all. OU was only ahead 7-3. They had to score in the final minute to be ahead 7-3. It was a very good second half, and even I will say for the third quarter, it was great.
Yeah.
And then the fourth quarter, they kind of let off the gas, played a lot of subs. So I still have no idea what OU is at this point.
No, I don't either. You've said it many times, and I don't have a read on them either. They're a totally different type of team. I will say this. They're not the explosive offensive Oklahoma teams that we've seen. They're more of a smash mouth, but they aren't being able to smash mouths very good at the moment. They're trying to establish a running game. I was listening to Gabe Eichert, former offensive lineman who knows a lot about OU today, and he was explaining some stuff that the offensive line was just messed up, a lot of stuff. So he expects that to get corrected. Kent State played well, and it was more scary than I thought it was going to be for sure. So I don't know either. Last week in college football, you get a win and you get out of there. And it was one of those crazy, crazy weeks. So the jury's out on the Sooners. We'll just have to see. They are 2-0, and we better just take it for what it's worth.
Yeah, so Dennis says, okay, take me through the first half. This is basically what happened. OU tried to run the ball and couldn't, and then just kept trying to run and run and run, trying to establish a running game and never could.
Yeah.
And basically they would have got shut out the first half, but they got the ball back with like a minute to go, and they had to throw it. And Dylan Gabriel took them right down the field. They got Marvin Mims going, and they scored. But really, the other possessions, they hardly ever threw the ball. It was all running. And so they came out second half, and they played pretty aggressive in the third quarter, and then they kind of backed it off again. They did get the running game going a little bit in the third quarter, but it definitely was kind of the offensive coordinator saying, we're running the ball. I don't care. They stop us all night. We're going to run the ball.
And it was obvious they were not ready to play.
No.
Which happens a lot in games of this kind. And the running backs did not run hard in the first half, and they ran much harder in the second half. So it was a general thing where, Kent State, we're going to kill them. And Kent State was better than I thought they were going to be. They had athletes, had a quarterback that was pretty good. And so that's kind of what happened. And again, I think they could have scored 50, but they really took their foot off the throttle in the fourth quarter.
One thing I think we've kind of learned, they've got 3 or 4 receivers that are good, and then that second group didn't look great because they could have scored a couple times when they put that second group in the fourth quarter, and things got kind of messed up. I really don't know what OU is. I don't think they're bad, but
no, they're not bad.
I really don't know what they are. But we'll see. Go to Nebraska this week, and their coach.
We'll talk about Nebraska here at depth in a little while.
Yes, that's right. The same second half happened with Riley. Well, maybe not, because it didn't last year when they had poor first halves. They have poor second halves as well.
I'm going to just throw this out just to be mean. Maybe the first half wouldn't have happened with Riley.
It could be true as well. Yeah. Well, the one thing about it, Riley never really tried to establish a running game.
No, he would have been throwing it all over the yard.
Yeah, so maybe that's part of it, and maybe that'll pay dividends later on in the season. We'll see, hopefully. All right, let's go into there were a lot of upsets, a lot of surprises. I don't think anything was more surprising than this game. Alabama, man, they were on the ropes. They for all intents and purposes, they should have lost this game. Texas should have beat them. They squeak it out 20-19 on a last-second field goal. On that drive, Bryce Young is sacked. They've got him dead to right, and he made a Heisman-type play, got away, made a scramble, and got them into field goal range. I'm flabbergasted by this one. What is the take? Is Alabama not as good? Is Texas a lot better than we thought? Is it both? Like what happened in this game?
It's probably maybe a little bit of both. We all have Alabama on a pedestal, and they deserve it for what they've done. But it's only 2 games. They weren't very good at times last year, really all season. Wasn't just early. In the regular season, they could have lost 2 or 3 times. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't remember they should have lost to Auburn in the Iron Bowl, and they would have never been in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot. Maybe they're not. And then on the other hand, I think Texas is better. Now, the thing that surprised me the most is the fact that Texas stopped them. That shocked me. I thought the game would be close for a good part of the first half, and then I just thought Alabama would run over Texas and beat them 41-20 or something of that nature. And they just never could get anything going offensively. Texas shut them down. And that's the most surprising thing to me was the fact that they could not blow Texas off the ball. So either they weren't prepared mentally. They made a lot of mistakes. They had a lot of penalties. But the fact that they couldn't move the ball in that Texas defense, which was bad last year, is an indication that Texas's defense is better. So this was a hard one for me. Aaron Mattingly's an OU fan. Mm-hmm. I absolutely could not root for Texas. I hate Alabama. I was torn. I mean, I'd have been happy either way, but I'm a lot happier that Texas lost.
Well, he brings it up, and Rob brings up, was it a safety? Was it an incompletion? I can tell you this, the Alabama announcers, that's who we were watching. We were driving through the game. They thought it was a safety. So, I mean, if your own announcers think it, I'm not sure. Listen, they got bad calls, I think, in this game. Texas did. And the quarterback, we didn't even talk about that. They were moving the ball. The quarterback gets hurt in the first quarter of this game.
Yeah.
Texas should have won the game. They were the better team in this game. And again, is it Texas? Are they finally actually back? Or is it just Alabama didn't play well, or they're not that good? I don't know. I really don't
think
know.
It's a mixture of both.
Yeah.
And we'll that's why you play 9 more or 10 more games.
That's right.
We want to find out. So if I was an Alabama fan, I wouldn't be jumping off the cliff because, again, you win the rest of your games. Nobody's going to remember this one.
Yeah, I mean, for Bama, they got out of it. And
they won.
They improve out of it.
What did the announcer say at the end of the game? Let's get out of Dodge or something. Let's get out of here. Take this win and get out of here or something.
Yeah, no, Alabama wins it, and let's pack up and get out of Dodge is what their announcer said. A great line. I loved it. Very funny line from their
again, here's the other thing, too. When you're Alabama, you're going to get everybody's best shot.
Yeah.
And it's early in the season. They don't have everything in sync yet. Texas is Texas. They have athletes. And if they somehow could get on the same page, they can go toe-to-toe with you athletic-wise. And I think that's a little bit of what happened. So I've got them on my principals honor roll. First time ever a team that's lost makes the principals honor roll at number 5. Texas.
Yeah. I mean, that's
they were impressive.
Yeah. It's really, really incredible to think that. It really is. And listen, for Texas, all their goals are still intact.
If
they went out, they will be in the playoff for sure.
No doubt.
So
it's a lock.
Yep. So they really didn't lose much, even though they did lose the game.
Yeah.
In the end. So, all right. Yeah. I hate to say it, but they looked They look good, and it's hard
Yes,
for me.
they did.
Yeah, but all right, let's move on to some other ones here. Georgia beats Samford 33-0. That had to be just a real exciting game. Ohio State beats Arkansas State 45-12. Another one, probably pretty boring game. They got way ahead, 0-0 in the fourth quarter. Tells me they played a lot of subs. Michigan beats Hawaii 56-10. This game was out of hand in like the first minute of the game. It felt like.
They didn't.
Clemson beats Furman 35-12. That's not as impressive.
No.
Right?
No.
This team, they just don't have offense still. So,
yeah,
we'll see what happens. All right, now here's the first biggie, the first big upset. Appalachian State lost to North Carolina the first week, 63-61. An incredible game. They go to Texas A&M and they win 17-14. The Aggies go down again in a game they shouldn't. What do you think about the poor old Aggies?
I love it. I love it. This is hilarious.
Yeah.
When are we going to learn? Now, there's a lot of questions here. Number one, they have these fantastic recruiting classes.
Uh-huh.
They have one of the, well, a lot of people think they're wrong, greatest coaches in the world, Jimbo Fisher.
Right.
Why can't they beat Appalachian State? The other thing we were talking about, why don't they ever get a quarterback?
Yeah.
They don't ever have one. My thing with Jimbo is this. I think everybody loves him because his name's Jimbo. He's got to be a great football coach if his name's Jimbo. And then he's only had one great team ever.
Yeah.
They weren't that good at Florida State.
No. They had a great quarterback.
He had Winston. It was kind of a down year. Alabama wasn't very good that year.
Yeah.
And that's fine. They took advantage of it. But I'd say there's a lot of bitching going on in College Station about old Jimbo, for sure. I'm shocked at the point total. That's what shocks me.
Yeah. They
hold Appalachian State to 17 and get beat. You know, I don't get that. So this was a shocker. Obviously, they don't have the offense again. They didn't last year. And what this does, again, don't overreact yet, because after Arkansas killed them last year, they came back and beat Alabama, I believe, the very next week.
Yeah, they got better. Yeah,
they got better. They'll come off of this, but what I'm getting at is this sets the stage for Arkansas to maybe pass them in the SEC West.
Well, they certainly look like they're going to have a better shot of doing that now than they did, 1 week ago. That's for sure. Jason says, Kingsbury or Jimbo, who gets fired first? I don't think they can fire Jimbo. I think his buyout is astronomical. So,
oh, yeah. And, because of two other horrible teams have lost, A&M's only third on the failing list. But here comes number 2.
Well, because Appalachian State is a decent team. I'm not sure Marshall is. We'll move on. Marshall beats Notre Dame 26-21. My goodness, they kind of dominated this game. I mean, I went back and kind of rewatched some of it. They pretty much did what they wanted. Notre Dame is 0-2. Man, after a decent performance week 1 at Ohio State, Marshall goes to South Bend and wins. What do you think of this?
Well, we said on Thursday, or I did, that this was a kind of a trap game for the Irish coming off the Ohio State game. And a Marshall team that's decent. It's hard to get up for them after that, And when you don't have any offense, and it looks like they don't have enough anyway, you're vulnerable. Yep. I thought they would win, but the point spread at 20.5, I didn't know for sure that they would cover that. I thought they'd win it, but they didn't. I suppose it was 26-14, and they scored late to make it 26-21. Yeah, so it really wasn't that close. And they're number 2 on the failing list. I think you can probably guess who's number 1. But this is their season's over as far as national championship aspirations go. It's done. They're done.
Their season's it's done. And I tell you, this was just not a good performance by Notre Dame at all. And we kept checking the score, and it's like, they're behind. They're still behind. Yeah. Well, they're going to lose. So we just kept just in shock, checking the score. And like I said, watched it back. They just did not look good at all. Rob White asked a question: would Appalachian State win the Big Ten West?
Oh, that is a great question, Rob.
I think Rob is on to something here.
Let's see. The Big Ten West, the favorite every year is Wisconsin, right?
Suck.
They're down. Let me look real quick here. Okay, here's the Big Ten West.
All right, let's go through them.
Wisconsin, they could beat them.
Yes.
Iowa, they would beat them.
Iowa sucks. Yep.
Purdue, they can beat them.
I would think they could beat Purdue. Yes. Yeah.
Nebraska,
who?
They probably beat Georgia Southern by 30 last year. Appalachian State probably did.
Nebraska, yeah, I think they beat Nebraska.
Yeah. Minnesota, which suddenly Purdue and Minnesota may be the favorites in the Big Ten West. Northwestern for sure.
Yeah.
Illinois for sure. So, yeah, they could. They could win it.
They could win it. Yes. Incredible. It is a good question. Yeah, I think Appalachian State could win the Big Ten West.
They beat Georgia Southern 27-3 last year.
Well, so you said 30-24, so you were close. So, wow. All right, let's move on. BYU Baylor. This was a hell of a game. Another game. Kickers couldn't make a kick. BYU had a chance, couldn't do it. They finally do it though. 26-20. They beat Baylor. Big win for BYU. Now they go to Oregon. So this was test number 1, and they passed it.
What are they up to? I think what are they, 10th this week, I believe? No, Arkansas 10th.
They are?
I think they're 12th.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway.
They're 12. They are 12. Yep.
Yeah, they'll be in the top 10 if they win this week. Great win for them. I thought Baylor showed they are very good to hang in there like that. Could have won it. So those are two really, really good teams. I think it's very interesting that Baylor lost, but they didn't drop very far. Yeah. They're still in the top 25 at number 17. So great, big, huge game with Oregon this week. And we'll find out if Oregon's any good.
Yeah.
Because they better be, or BYU might beat them. And you know what? We said on the preview show for college this year, they have the schedule to make the playoffs if they can win them all. So huge game this week.
Jason says it. Go Cougs. Cougars win it. A big win for the Cougars. And we always like it when the Cougars win on this show. So 26-20 win. Heading to Oregon. We'll see what happens. USC, they go to Stanford. I didn't think they'd cover. They did. USC wins 41-28. Pretty familiar score. If you're an OU fan, that's kind of how we would win games. Just kind of outscore the opponent. But, boy, they jumped on them early. They kind of dominated this one.
Yeah, they did. I'd say they gave up a couple of late TDs when they had the reserves in. It's a good win for USC. And notice they've jumped up. They are now number 7 because everybody keeps losing.
Yeah.
They have a sneaky tough game this week with Fresno State. It is in Los Angeles, though. So they're playing well.
Yeah, they're playing very well, and Caleb Williams looks good. And when we were walking out of the stadium, I said that's going to be the biggest loss that came from that Riley situation is losing Caleb Williams. He's a stud, and so we'll see what happens, man. He looks good. Yeah, 9.5 points is the spread on that USC game. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll talk about that one on Thursday, and we'll see what we think about that one. All right, Oklahoma State gets a big 34-17 win over Arizona State. Cowboys are 2-0. They look better this week, I thought.
Sure.
So a good win from them.
That's a very good win for them. And they never are real good or real impressive in the early season. So they got 2 under their belt, and they got an easy one this week. So they just keep getting better and better.
Yep, good win. I think they're a solid team. They're going to be a team you're going to have to definitely worry about messing with if you want to win the Big 12 this year. Kentucky and Florida, speaking of big wins, this is a massive win for this Kentucky program. They go to Florida and they win this thing 26-16. They get 2 pick sixes in this game. Man, a huge, huge win for the Wildcats.
It is. And this is first time since 1976 and 77 that they beat Florida 2 years in a row.
Yep.
Hit the nail on the head you did last Thursday when you said Stoops has made them tough. This is a tough team with a good quarterback, and that's how you win games on the road. And hey, they're right in the thick of things. in the SEC East. You know, they've got Georgia, and their schedule's not real tough. So they're looking right at 10 wins.
Is Kentucky good or Florida overrated? I think we probably did tend to overrate Florida after that first win of the season against Utah. But I'm going to tell you, I don't think Kentucky is an elite team. This is a very good team.
You bet.
That's what I'm saying they are.
Well, there's another thing I couldn't understand. Florida wasn't even ranked in the preseason.
Yeah.
They beat Utah. Okay. They jumped them all the way to 12.
Mm-hmm.
They went from not even ranked to 12 by beating Utah. Now, I can see them being 20 or 21 or 2, but 12. And then they lose, and they don't fall out of the top 25. They go all the way down to 18. Well, I would have dropped them down into the 20s again. I mean, I don't understand that, how they rank things.
No, I didn't understand that one either. But and how they're not out at the top of 20 at least is kind of
crazy
to me. But this Kentucky team is good. Mattingly says, do you think Will Levis is an NFL quarterback? I think he's going to get a shot. I don't know if he's going to be great, but I'm really impressed with him. And you got to look at who Kentucky's had at quarterback over the years. He's such an improvement for them. I think he's pretty darn good. What about you?
Oh, I do too. And you got to have one. He's steady.
Yeah.
And, Stoops has just done a miraculous job there to get them consistent year in and year out. No one's ever been able to do that, or at least since the 50s, and when football wasn't like it is now. So they're tough. They are tough to beat.
They are. Jason says, week 5 probably when they should have their first polls, and then Dennis agrees, says until week 2 is over, he shouldn't do them. So, but. You know what I say about these polls? Absolutely nothing. They're meaningless.
Yeah, they
are meaningless polls until we get to the actual college football playoff one. So
it's just for fun.
Yeah, don't worry about it too much. Utah, speaking of them, they came back and beat Southern Utah 73-7. Michigan beat Akron 52-0. Akron and Hawaii, they need to play each other. I think
they do.
They're 2 of the worst. They are 2 of the worst. Miami beat Southern Miss 30-7. Get this, Miami goes to Texas A&M coming up this week. So that'll be interesting to see. Can A&M bounce back? Is Miami any good? That's an interesting game. What do you think of the Hurricanes after 2 games? Hard to tell right now.
No, not. I don't think much of them. That's not an impressive win.
No.
Would you be surprised if Texas A&M beats them? I wouldn't.
No. Nope, would not be at all. I think Texas A&M will beat them. They are the favorite right now. Sylvain chimes in, and I think he's right about this. He says, I don't know much about football, but I know Iowa quarterbacks suck.
Don't have to know too much there, Sylvain. You're right.
Sylvain, you are correct, my friend. Yes, he is awful. We talked about that a lot. We'll talk about that Iowa, I'm sure, in a second. But Papa Dude and I talked about that all the way down to Norman. It's like, it's not like it's a surprise. He sucked last year.
Yeah.
How can you not get a different quarterback in there?
Anyway,
all right. I thought this was a good win for the Razorbacks, 44-30. They got way ahead, and South Carolina came back, almost pulled off a backdoor cover, but not quite. Razorbacks 2-0.
Yep.
Said, hey, Texas A&M lost.
Yep.
They're looking good, aren't they?
You better believe they are, and they got an easy one this week. They're going to be 3-0. They are a success story so far, and ranked number 10 in the country this week.
Yeah.
Maybe a dab high, but still 2 very, very good wins. So everything's rosy in Fayetteville.
Yeah, I watched this first quarter and a half before we had to leave, and of course followed it. I like their offense. I think they are a really nice offensive team. I think defense is still going to be a struggle, but I like the Razorbacks. I was not with a lot of their fan base. I thought week 1 was a great win. I think this is a good win too. 2 games, 2 wins. They covered both times. There's nothing to be upset with. They're doing very well so far. So good job on them. Tennessee, 34-27 win over Pittsburgh. This is a huge win, I thought, for Tennessee. They got behind in this game. It didn't look good for a while. They rallied and they kind of turned it on and won this thing. Big win for the Vols.
Yeah, they're proving something to me. I had them. I thought they were overhyped. Pittsburgh's not a great team, but this is a great win on the road when you get behind. Shows you got some guts. a win that may propel them to maybe 9 or 10 wins. That's winning these kind of games makes a huge difference on your record, but at the end of the year. So that's a good one for the Vols, and they made the honor roll this week at number 9.
Yeah, good win for the Bulls. It was a very good game. Pittsburgh just, I was with Jason. I thought Pittsburgh was going to win that thing, and Tennessee pulled it out. So good job there. There's Truth Exposed. Hey, roll Tide. They won, Truth. So
you got it.
Just be happy. North Carolina State beat Charleston Southern 55-3. Washington State 17, Wisconsin 14. Wisconsin loses another game that nobody thought they would lose. Where do you go? To me, they're the most overrated team almost every year.
Every year. And again, they're just offensively challenged. They just don't have a dynamic enough offense. They're prone to get upset. And they did. And here's another bunch of Cougars. Probably nobody knows Washington State's the Cougars, but maybe Wisconsin was looking at the Cougars too much. So that's a terrible loss for the Badgers.
It was a good week to be a Cougar. It's always a good week to be a Cougar. Washington State now 2-0, so we'll see if they can keep that going. Ole Miss 59-3 over Central Arkansas. A couple more to go here. There were a couple of good games. Wake Forest, boy, it was nice to see Wake Forest with their quarterback back. Sam Hartman is back. 45-25 win over Vanderbilt. That's I thought Wake Forest was an exciting team last year. Kind of the I know I'm not saying they're great, but just kind of that mid-level team that's fun to watch. And it was a nice win for them. And then this one, overtime 2 weeks in a row for Houston. This time, Texas Tech is able to beat Houston in overtime 33-30. What did you think of that one?
Well, I've got Houston overrated too. So I do want to say, though, that the Texas Tech coach is doing a heck of a job down there. That's a big win for
Huge
the
win.
Warriors.
Huge win.
Really big.
Yeah, very big win. We'll see if he can keep it rolling, but that's a good way to kick off as your second game, but the real kickoff, basically. So, big win for Texas Tech. All right. Did we go? We probably didn't go through all of your honor roll and failing lists. So
we're running out of time.
Go ahead.
Well, we got to talk about Nebraska.
Yeah, let's talk about them first.
Well, I don't need to go through all of the lists, but for time purposes, but we got to talk about Nebraska and the mess that's up there. When you are Nebraska, no matter what you're ranked or what your team is, you simply cannot lose to Georgia Southern. You just can't. And so they had to do what they did. And when you fire a coach in the middle of the season, it's never good. It's just not good. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens this week. And of course, OU has to go up there. It's kind of they should roll in this game. It's going to go one of two ways. Nebraska's going to rally around the new guy, or they're not. So it's very, very interesting to see what's going to happen.
Let me ask you this. Realistically, what can you expect for the next Nebraska coach? They've went through them. They're getting worse. This Scott Frost, when they hired him, was a very good hire.
Yeah.
He left a Central Florida program that he built into a perennial power. They have not been very good since he left, which tells me he did a good job there.
He's a good coach.
What is next for Nebraska? What's going to turn this around, and can they get anybody?
I would love to hear somebody interview Barry Switzer and have his take on what's happened at Nebraska, because he would know more than anybody else. We all have theories. The prevailing theory is this: when they left the Big 12 and went to the Big 10, they lost recruiting in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
Because when they were in the Big 12, they played a lot of games in Texas, and they were still relevant in Texas. They don't have that anymore. They don't play in Texas. These kids coming out of high school now don't know who Nebraska is. They have not been relevant since 2003.
Yeah.
Guys, think about this real carefully. Where can they get players at?
Yeah.
They don't have a recruiting base. Now you're going to argue, well, they never did. Well, when they were super good, what was football like then? It was smash mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It was power football. They lined up with big old white linemen that could just knock your socks off, and they ran over you. And they had skilled people that they recruited from California, Florida, Texas. Those guys, very few of them were from Nebraska.
Right.
If you've ever been to Nebraska, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But they got those big raw bone linemen out of the state of Nebraska. They lined up, they ran at you, they had a great defense, and they just overpowered you. They can't do that anymore. Football's not like that anymore. So the recruiting has really affected them.
Mm-hmm.
But where they have really fallen off is their defense. It's awful.
Well,
they're scoring points.
I've talked to a lot of people about this. I said there's no reason they can't be an 8-4 type team.
No, I agree with you.
Can they get back to the heyday? I don't think so. Can they get back to 8-4, 9-3, respectable? Yeah, there's no excuse not to be.
No, and what's killing Nebraska people is back in the old days, you play Georgia Southern, it's 55-0 at the half.
Yeah.
You're not in a close game, even if they'd have won 42-38, or even if they'd have made that field goal to tie it at 45 and went into OT and beat them. That's not going to be good enough.
You know, the other bad thing, they aren't in there with Michigan and Ohio State and Penn State. It's not like those are the team that's beating them.
No,
they're getting beat by the lesser half of the other side of the Big Ten. And
yeah.
I can't believe that it's fallen to this level.
I can't either. And I mean, OU went through this in the 90s, but everybody just assumed once OU got the right coach, it was coming back because OU recruits the hell out of Texas.
Yeah.
And when you got Texas in your backyard and you get the right guy down there, they're going to get players, which is the name of the game in college football. Nebraska just doesn't have enough players across the board. But you look at who they're losing to, like you said, look at last year. They lost to Purdue.
Yeah.
That doesn't fly in Nebraska. In the old days, you'd beat Purdue by 30.
Yeah.
They lost to Minnesota, to Illinois.
Yeah.
Give me a break. You just can't. Those people just can't fathom that. They just can't.
Forget about last year. This year, they lost to Northwestern. Northwestern lost to Duke.
Yes.
I mean, that is an awful loss. Forget about Georgia Southern.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a terrible loss.
It is.
They had to fire him. And like Rob said, it's unbelievable. If they wait till October 1st, they save $7.5 million. And they didn't do it. That's how fed up they are.
Here's what it is. This was a PR move by the athletic director and the administration to show the fans they're listening to them. That's all this is. And I saw Trev Alberts, and he's a slick talker, and he's impressive. He was impressive. I was listening to his press conference. And I don't think they wanted to do it. I think they dearly wanted to stay that other couple of weeks. Here's the thing. If you fire a coach this early in the season, you thought about firing him at the end of last year, and that's where they screwed up.
Yeah.
They should have pulled the trigger last year, and they didn't.
I'm telling you, I don't know who they get.
Well, there's been a lot of speculation. And listen, they're going to get somebody because they're going to be able to pay them. And they have wonderful facilities. So they're going to get somebody. But I've heard Mark Stoops. Why would Mark Stoops leave Kentucky to go to Nebraska?
He's not leaving.
No, he's not going to leave an SEC job to go up there.
Nope.
Unless the bottom falls out of Kentucky this year.
Yeah.
Probably there's two guys that may be logical. One is the guy at K-State, Chris Kleeman. But you could argue with Oklahoma and Texas leaving the Big 12, he might have a better job at K-State than at Nebraska.
I don't think he would leave.
He may not. Matt Campbell, I think, is a fool if they offer it to him and he doesn't take it.
He should take it for
That's
sure.
the guy that I think they could get.
I will say this. He should take it. I think he's turned down better jobs than this.
Probably. But he should take it now because Iowa State, I think, is impossible to keep winning year in and year out.
They need to look at Oklahoma, in my opinion, and hire an assistant. You don't have to hire a head coach that's already a head coach. I think they need to go get a young assistant who's hungry, and hopefully it works out.
Well, I don't think they'll go that route unless they have to. They never have. I would say they might look, Urban Meyer's been thrown out there. That's not Nebraska's image.
It's not happening.
And I don't think they're going to hire him.
Urban Meyer has so much baggage on him now.
Yeah,
I didn't have even back then.
They can't do that at Nebraska. Their image is squeaky.
Why would he even go there? That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Why would Urban Meyer even want to go to Nebraska?
I don't know. But, Nebraska's got this squeaky clean image, even though they had 2 outlaws that played for them up there and got in all kinds of trouble.
Yeah.
Osborne's last few years, he was recruiting anybody that was in prison that he could get to keep.
Yeah. He recruited pretty bad dudes for sure.
Yeah. He had this image as the All-American guy. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. But a coach has got to think twice before he goes up there right now. Because as you said, so many quality guys have failed.
Yep. And they ran guys out of town that weren't bad either. So that's
right. The expectations are too high at this point.
For Nebraska. At this point, there cannot be those expectations. There's no way people think back to 11-1.
Kids that are coming out of high school now have no idea Nebraska was ever any good.
No.
They weren't even born when they were good.
Yeah. It's sad.
It's like you were 10 years old. No, you were 16 years old before you ever saw a good Oklahoma team.
That's right. Yeah.
You always told me, why are you root for them? They suck.
Yeah.
So they've lost that mystique. And once you do, it is so hard to get it back. And so they've got a real problem on their hands. We were talking on the way home the other night, how much longer will that fan base stick together with them? I think they will because they don't have anything else to do. And I really don't want to talk about this too much because we got to play them this week. And I don't like talking about an opponent and really bad-mouthing them until we're done with them. I expect a tremendous effort out of them Saturday. It's going to be close for a while. And it's just going to be – and what scares me about this game and what Nebraska's shown this year, the one thing they can do, they can move the ball. They have a very good quarterback, and they can move the ball. And that means we're going to have to score some points. Mm-hmm. Our offense hasn't shown that they're real dynamic. So it's going to be kind of a scary game. I think we win. And the line on this game is fairly low. It has jumped to 11 now.
Yeah. So it opened at 5, and then it went to 8, and now it's at 11.
It was 4 this summer. So I don't really want to talk about it too much more. But it's a really interesting situation. I think Nebraska football, Rob, is a lot worse than Indiana basketball.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's a very good comparison, though, it is. Because they have totally dropped. And again, kids right now, they don't care. Indiana basketball, they don't care. You and I do. We know what Indiana basketball used to be. But I think Indiana is a little better than Nebraska, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it's a good comparison.
It is.
God, just crazy to think. I'm with you. The closer the game gets, it's like, this will probably be close.
It's hard to be from a person of the 70s, 80s, 90s. It's just almost impossible for me to think Nebraska, who were so consistent through those years, just year after year after year.
Yeah,
rarely had a season where they lost more than 2 games. Fallen this far, but it shows you it can happen.
It can happen. I remember Nebraska coming to OU last year. I thought it'd be a blowout, and they almost beat us. So we'll see. I'm with you. I'm not gonna. I mean, it's a dumpster fire up there, but if they beat us, I'm not gonna sit here and be shocked. So but they should not. OU should win the game. So anyway, all right, that's it. That's what we got. I'll tell you what. We'll do one question. You said you had one question. We'll do it.
Okay.
We'll do one, just one.
Well, I got to see which one I think's the best here.
Okay.
They're really lighthearted questions. I don't think they're going to take a whole long time, either one of them.
All right, do one and we'll see how it goes.
All right.
Okay.
What is something some people like to do, but you would never do it?
What is something some people like to do, but I would never do it? What is an example? Like,
well, it's you want me to throw out mine and kind of give you an idea?
You do yours and set the tone.
All right. I would never jump out of an airplane.
I agree.
Never in a million years could you get me to jump. I think even if it was going to crash, I wouldn't jump out of it.
Agree. Yeah. Date a cougar, certainly, Jason. I think that's.
Well, maybe we're going something kind of wacky here.
Sylvain says skydiving as well. I would say like hiking. People like to hike up mountains. That's not, no. Mm-mm.
You don't like to hike at all?
No, not even a little bit. Nope. Nope, not even a little bit. Hiking, no.
I don't like to hike in the mountains because it's hard.
Now, Now you want to go for a walk? Fine. Hiking, elevations, no. There's mountains up in upstate New York, and some of our family members like to do that. No, I'd never go.
Yeah,
I went once. I did go once.
I do love to hike, but not in high elevation. The hills of Arkansas, I love it there. But
nope.
You would not jump out of an airplane.
No.
How about zip lining? Would you do that?
No, I don't want to do that. I'm scared of heights. Here's the deal. I used to not be afraid of heights at all. As a matter of fact, I did like one of those giant swings. It takes you way up, and it's like bungee jumping, but it's a swing instead of a free fall.
Yeah,
I did that, but since I got like developed vertigo, like I don't know when that was, 2015. That's been 7 years now. The height.
Okay.
It acts up if I get up too high. I get a little scared. I can't do it.
I'm not scared of heights, but I would not do parasailing.
No, I wouldn't do any of it.
No.
Now, a plane ride I can do that doesn't bother me for some reason, but I don't like to get up on like the 5th floor of a hotel. If there's a balcony, I don't go out on it. Like at Vegas, we were up on like the 20th floor. I didn't go out on that balcony. Piss on that. I'm not doing that.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, go with that one.
Okay. This is what, because you're going to love my answer.
Okay.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Oh, PE, no doubt.
No, that doesn't count. That's not a subject.
Favorite subject in school. I really hated all of it. I really did.
Did you ever have a class, even in college, that you liked?
Nope. Nope. I hated every second of school. I guess when I got into like college, when you got into like there was an accounting class that was really good. But I can't say I liked it. We took a salesmanship class. That was pretty good. I'll say that, but that's not really a subject. I hated everything.
That's a business class in college. That counts.
I mean, math, I guess, would be like a set subject. Probably math. Yeah.
Before I give you mine, Sylvain said he would never play in a XXX movie.
Sylvain, I had no idea what you meant by that.
No, that is so funny.
That's great. Yeah, I went in. Some of our math teachers weren't awful.
Here's the funny thing, too. Students always would ask me this, too. They go, what was your favorite subject? And I said the same answer you did. I hated every class I was ever in high school and college. And I ended up being a teacher. So they go, you mean you didn't like history? Because that's what I taught. And I said, well, I had a history teacher in college that I liked. Mm-hmm. But as far as actually thinking I would ever do it, no. So, yeah, it's I ended up being a teacher, and I hated every subject.
I went to college, and I'll tell the people I went to college first year. It was my major is going to be a teacher, and I just said, why am I hated school. Like, why do I hate this school that I'm at right now? Why would I want to stay in? So, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Physics, because the hottest girl in school was my lab partner. JL says that's a good answer. Good answer. We didn't have any hot girls in our schools.
Speaking of cougars, I didn't know what a cougar was at this time, but I took an anatomy class in college, and my lab partner was a cougar. Well, I don't know. She's a cougar. She was an older woman. Okay, let's say that.
Cougar when you were at 20.
Yeah, she was probably 35, maybe.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah. So I remember that class pretty well, but I'm not saying she was a cougar. So, okay, Sylvain, I do the questions, you don't.
Well, now Sylvain, who has the best baseball mascot? The Chicken Philly Fanatic.
Oh, listen, those are good. Golly, I love the Chicken.
Yeah,
He was the most famous, but Philly Fanatic is hard to beat.
Yeah.
The Expos is guy. I don't remember him just a whole lot. Mm-hmm. So most mascots are pretty boring. They really are. But those two guys they were fabulous. One more.
Okay.
Who are some of your favorite comedians?
Oh, what a question. Love all of comedians. Love stand-up comedy. Dave Chappelle is the GOAT. He's the answer. He's the best. I like Jerry Seinfeld a lot. Who else? Who are some of yours? Well, I think.
Well,
Sebastian Maniscalco. I love him. I think he's hilarious.
Seattle drives right down the field and scores. Well, there goes everything I was talking about. Anyway, I tend to go to the guys that aren't vulgar.
Okay, well, Jerry Seinfeld would be for sure.
So him, there's a guy by the name of Brian Regan who is fantastic. You got to YouTube him.
Okay.
He's not real famous. He is if you're a YouTuber. He's great. My all-time favorite Jason is George Carlin. That is, and I said I don't like vulgar. George was vulgar in a very good way. And if you go back and listen to George Carlin today,
he was right.
He hit everything right on. And he's great.
Pop-Tart bit.
That's Brian Regan.
Okay. All right.
Rob, have you heard Little League Baseball? That's my favorite one with him.
Man, I've never heard of this guy. I'm gonna have to.
You're going to love him, Aaron. He is absolutely hilarious.
I love most comics, so that would be great. Gallagher was hilarious.
Oh, I forgot about Gallagher. He was fabulous.
I agree. He was hokey as hell, but he was funny.
He was funny. I liked Sinbad a lot.
Sinbad was good. Yeah.
There's a guy by the name of Stephen Wright. Have you ever seen him?
I've seen him.
Dry comedian. God, funny.
Two women I got to shout out that I've watched on Netflix that I was really surprised isn't the word, but Heather wanted to watch. I was like, they won't be funny. There's somebody named Ali Wong. She's super funny. Super, super funny. Watch that. And can't think of the other one's name. Starts with an S. Blonde-headed. She's hilarious. I can't think of her name off the top of my head though. But anyway, I don't know. Gosh, I wish I could remember that one. But anyway, I do like Ali Wong. I think she's hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Eddie Murphy was funny.
Eddie Murphy was fantastic.
It's his skits that are what's so funny.
He's fantastic. Also, gosh, I can't think of their names. I can see him. He's kind of an older guy. He talks real funny. I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of good ones. The thing with Seinfeld, he always brings up something that you have done.
Yeah.
But Brian Regan, Google him. Google Little League Baseball, Man on the Moon.
Yeah.
There are just what?
Bill Burr. I think he's hilarious.
I never heard of him.
You never watched Bill Burr? He was great. And we're forgetting one that I think he is almost one of the funniest of all time. Chris Rock. He was fantastic.
Yeah, he is. Richard Pryor was good.
Yeah.
Steve Martin was fantastic.
Yeah. Steve Martin, very good.
Very good, and he wasn't vulgar.
Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah, he's got a real dry wit. He's good.
Yes, he's funny.
He is, and he's not vulgar.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
So there are so many good ones. But Carlin, I believe, because you listen to his stuff today, and everything he says is exactly what happened. That's a good one, Sylvain. I love that last one of yours. There's
Not true. Bill Burr is great. Yeah.
There's just one thing there, Sylvain. He ain't funny.
No, it's not comedy. That's real life.
Dennis says he never got Bill Burr, so I may have to watch it now, Dennis. I may have to YouTube this dude to see why you didn't get it.
I will say, I think people either really like him or they don't.
Okay.
He's not like, I don't know. A lot of people like him. I don't think Heather loved him too much though. So,
okay.
Yeah, I'm going through some of these. I have a tough time remembering names. I know their faces. Yeah. So, Jim Gaffigan, I really like a lot.
He is good. I saw him on something the other night. He was really good.
Here's one that was good that we have Bernie Mac when he was alive. Very good.
Bernie was good. Yeah.
Funny. Low-key funny.
He really was.
I'm really fascinated with comedians. That's such a hard job. It really is.
It really is.
Yeah, so I'm fascinated they can do it. Ryan Stillman and I will talk about comedians all day long.
Well, you know what? I think you and I have talked about this before. The thing about Seinfeld, he never has to work another day in his life, but he still does stand up from time to time because he loves it.
Yeah,
he loves doing that.
Yeah,
and that's his craft. That's what he would rather do than anything else, and he certainly doesn't have to do it.
Jim Jeffries. That name sounds really familiar. I'm not sure that I've heard of, or I've seen him. I've heard of him. Maybe I haven't seen him. So, yeah, I'll have to look that one up. Yeah.
Well, we got a reaction on this part. I'll tell you.
Well, I think if you like comedy, there's so many that you love, and there's too many. Let me type in female comedian, see if I can find that. She's blonde headed and she is miracle.
I remember Ellen when she was doing stand up.
Mm-hmm.
Back before she became Ellen.
Mm-hmm.
She was pretty funny. She really was.
I watched Ellen on Netflix her latest one. She's pretty funny. Yeah,
she's pretty good and she's not vulgar.
Tim Allen is actually kind of funny.
That's a guy that I never did like in anything. And I don't know. I just really don't. I mean, he's okay, but I just never did. He's just one of those guys. I don't know. I never did like his shows that well. Everybody else did.
I'm Googling here. Yeah, that's her. I don't know how you'd say her name. Liza Shellsinger? I'll drop it in the chat here.
No, it's not Taylor Tomlinson there, Rob.
There. I just put it in the chat there, Rob. Taylor Tomlinson. That sounds really familiar to me. Taylor Tomlinson. Oh, yes. Rob, that's one of them. Yes. Taylor Tomlinson is hilarious. Yes.
Jason put Robin Williams on there. And I tell you what.
Yes, Taylor Tomlinson is actually who I'm thinking of. Yes, Rob. Okay. I love her. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, Jason put Robin Williams on there. And the thing about Robin Williams, he would just get off. He would just go nuts. And he'd start out on something and end up on something else. And half the time, I didn't understand what he was talking about.
Yeah.
But he could be hilarious. That's for sure.
Yeah. Robin Williams was a nut on there. But he was good. He was very good. Oh, man. Thank you. Taylor Thompson. Love her. She's really good. Yes. All right. Yes. This girl here is very funny as well.
Okay.
So. All right. I think we've covered most of them.
Yes, I can't think of anybody else.
No.
I grew up with George Carlin, and he's classic.
George Carlin was funny. Richard Pryor, very funny older comic too. I die laughing at him. But the GOAT is Dave Chappelle. I don't want to hear any backlash. Do you like Dave Chappelle?
No, I don't think I know who he is.
Oh my God, we gotta go. All right, we gotta go. That's it. That's all the time we're allowed.
I probably know him if I saw him.
You know Dave Chappelle?
Yeah, maybe. I don't think he ever struck a nerve with me much. I don't know.
My God. Well, guys, we got to go. He lasted an hour and 29 minutes before I had enough. So we got to go. Eddie Murphy Delirious was hilarious. Yes, I agree. All right.
Well, his skits on Saturday Night Live. Come on.
Oh, he's one of the best. Yeah.
Buckwheat. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Buckwheat singing for all the hit songs.
Yes.
Oh God, that's
Eddie Murphy is extremely talented. Like, he can do things not a lot of other people can do. Yeah.
Mr. Robinson, God.
Dennis says, got a long way tonight until the show went bad.
You guys love it. That's why we do it.
We almost got off the air.
Yeah, I'm getting out there now. My back's starting to hurt.
First appearance for Charlotte tonight. All right, we got to go, guys. Thank you all again for watching. Go watch Monday Night Football now, and hopefully we can get a winner here. Even though I did not bet this game. I'm with you. I didn't really care. I watched too much, I think. So, all right, guys, get out of here, and we'll see you back here on Thursday analyzing all of Week 2 of the NFL and Week 3 college football.
This is Dudes Who Bet Sports. Dudes Who Bet Sports, it's your favorite show. Dudes Who Bet Sports, where degenerates go. Dudes Who Bet Sports, time to change your approach with Aaron Halterman and his father, the coach. Let's ride.
Well, the Associated Press is full.